YouTube channel. I am creating this YouTube channel here for you because I was really interested in reading a ton of books like 7-8 years ago, and then for some reason in the past couple years that kind of fell off. So my reading journey really started back in when I was a child. I remember in middle school, I think I read like over 100 Nancy Drew books in a summer or something like that, or maybe just that year. 100 seems like a lot for a summer. Yeah, it's got to be in the year when I was in middle school. And then I really kept reading books, and I was really interested in reading a lot of books. And then in 2015, funny story, I was working 2 jobs and I lost both of those jobs, so then I just got into reading again. And in 2015, I read about, I want to say like maybe 45 to like 50 books. Let me double check on that for you. Yeah, that's correct. Back in 2015, I read 45 books. 2016, I read 48 books. 2017, I read 35 books. In 2018, I read 11 books. And in 2020, I read 12 books. Sorry. In 2020, I read 12 books. Sorry, I have my laptop right in front of me. And then right after that, when the pandemic started, I guess everything went to shit, and things went to shit for a lot of people. So here we are, and today in this video, I'm going to talk about the books that I read in 2015 that I gave 5 stars. So let's take a look here. Like I said, I have my laptop right in front of me. And I'll put the pictures of the books up on the screen so that you guys can see. So of the 45 books that I read in 2015, I gave 15 of those books 5 stars. So that's not bad. That's about a third of the books that I read. I gave 5 stars. So let's talk about the first one. So the first book I read that I gave 5 stars is Outlander by Gabaldon. I hope I'm saying that right. So this book actually saw the TV series first before I decided to pick up the book. So when the TV series came out, I think they released like half of season 1, and I randomly was like looking on iTunes to see if there was anything good to watch, and this one was like, oh, first episode free. So I was like, well, I like free things, why not download that? And I got hooked very first episode, and then they left off on a bit of cliffhanger, and I won't spoil that for people who haven't watched season 1 of Outlander. And I looked up when the show was going to come back to finish up season 1, and I saw that it was like 6 months down the road or something like that, and I was like, I would like to know what's happening ASAP. So I picked up the book, and I absolutely loved it. This book is about a girl who lives in, like, it's after World War II, I believe. She's a nurse, and she's married, and she and her husband are trying to like rekindle their like love for each other. So they take a trip to Scotland, and she heads up to these like standing stones out in Scotland, like without her husband, just randomly one day. And then when she touches a stone, she gets transported back in like 18th or 17th century Scotland, and she meets this Scottish man who she ends up falling in love with, but she's English, he's Scottish, kind of a taboo no-no, because back then England and Scotland were kind of not getting along or whatever. So yeah, from there hijinks ensued. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. I still love the books. I haven't watched, I think I watched up to season 4 of the show, and I know that there's more seasons out than that, so maybe I should catch up on that. So the next book that I gave 5 stars in 2015 is Ready Player One. So this book, I don't exactly remember how I ended up picking this book. I think maybe I went to a trip to Texas to see my sister, and I remember like picking up a bunch of books like up at the like Barnes & Noble in Texas, and I think this may be one of them, but again, I'm not too sure. I might have just picked this up randomly on my own. But basically, Ready Player One probably needs no explanation. I know this is a very popular book. So basically it's about, like, in the near future, there is this, like, video game creator, and I forget what the video game is called, but he creates this super popular video game, it's kind of like in VR, and the environmental, like, of the world has basically gone to shit, and so everyone's really into, like, living their life in VR because they don't want to go out into the real world. And then there's this video game creator who made the VR world, and he passes away, and he puts out like this challenge that if anyone can complete this challenge, then they get the sole property to like run his company and like the VR video game that he set up. So that book was very good. It does have a lot of pop cultural references. So if that's something that you don't like, I would not recommend reading that book. I know some people don't like that, but I really liked it, and I got all the pop cultural references that are in that book. So that was a 5-star read for me. The next book I gave 5-star was Dragonfly and Amber, and this is the second book in the Outlander series. So again, I won't go into it because that would be spoiling it for you, but this book, I feel like what really ended up giving this book like 5 stars was probably the last like 1/4 of the book. There's some things that happened in there that I just did not see coming at all, that I thought was like shocking, truly iconic, and so that was the end of the book, is the reason why it got 5 stars. And the next book I gave 5 stars is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Back in 2015, like around that time, I was a big Rainbow Rowell fan. I have not read a lot of her recent work, so maybe that's something I should look into. And I actually cannot remember what this book is about, so why did I give 5 stars? I don't know. Why don't we just look that up right now? Oh, okay, I remember. So this book is about two girls. They're sisters. One sister is named Kath, the other one is named Ren. Catherine, and they're twins, get it? And they go off to college, and once they're in college, one of the sisters decide that they like don't want to be roommates with each other, and they're kind of like growing apart. So the other sister is having a very difficult time in college, and she's kind of nerdy, and she writes a lot of fanfic. I think I really like this book just because at the time when I read it, it was very just like applicable to where I was in my life, and it really like resonated with me. So maybe I should read more Rainbow Rowell, like her newer works. And the next book I gave 5 stars is Cress, which is a part of the Cinder Chronicles. This one is written by Marissa Meyer. I should have probably been saying all the authors' names up until this point. Whatever. So Cress by Marissa Meyer is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. Now the first book is called Cinder, and the second one is Scarlet. I think I gave Cinder maybe like 3 stars. I thought it was okay. There was what I think the author meant to be a pretty big like plot twist, but I could kind of see that coming from like a mile away. Like I think literally in like the first 1/3 or 1/4 of the book, she kind of like put it out there, you know, this like mystery or this like folklore or whatever, and the fact that it was just so blatantly out there just made me think like it's probably the plot twist that's coming along later. So that book, Cinder, was okay, and then the second book in the series is Scarlet, which I actually really did not like Scarlet. I thought Scarlet, so the character's name, the main character in the book Scarlet, is Scarlet. And I just thought that she was very insufferable as a character, and the way that she like spoke and the way that she, some of her actions were like just very immature. So I didn't really like Scarlet. After thinking that Cinder was just okay and then Scarlet did not like, I really thought I would not like Cress going into it, but for some reason I decided to persevere, and I actually ended up really loving Cress. I thought that she was a beautiful cupcake, a beautiful muffin that just needed to be protected, and she has this love interest with this kind of like space pirate, space captain kind of guy, and I thought is hilarious. And I probably should have said earlier, but these books are kind of a play on like Disney princesses. So obviously the first book, Cinder, is based on Cinderella. The second one, Scarlet, is based off of Little Red Riding Hood, and then the third one, Cress, is based off of Rapunzel. So Marissa Meyer just kind of like does a retwist, like modern, it's kind of like a steampunky kind of feel to it, revision of those stories, but still kind of like based in what we kind of like know and love. So highly would recommend Cress, not so much the 2 first books. Then the next book that I gave 5 stars is The Martian, and this is another book that needs 0 explanation. So The Martian this was made into that movie with Matt Damon. This book is basically about these like team of astronauts that were on a mission to Mars or something like that, and they ran into like really bad like space weather on Mars, and they had to like abandon the trip. However, our main character gets left behind, and he has to spend, I think, a few years on Mars, kind of just surviving on his own until he was able to make contact with people on the ship that left him and back on Earth, telling him, hey, I'm still here, like, come to rescue. So this book I found really great because of the main character just had this level of like humility and humor about the situation that he's in. I mean, honestly, if I was trapped on Mars for like the amount of time that he was, I'd probably go insane. But he really kept sane in this book, and obviously the movie was also really great. So the next book that I gave 5 stars is Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. Yes, this is the 3rd book of the Outlander series. This one, I thought, again, what really made it for me was the ending of this book. So this one, it's what it sounds. It's a Voyager, so they go on a little like trip on the ocean. So they're traveling from like I believe it is from like Scotland or England somewhere to like the Caribbean. So like I said, the end of this book really made it for me. I thought it was just like very eye-opening, and a lot of new characters were introduced here. So yeah, that one was great. The next book I gave 5 stars, and this one is more of like a series of books. So it's the Amulet Series, the graphic novel by Kazu Kibushi, I think that's how you pronounce that. So there's several like volumes in this graphic novel. So the first one that I gave 5 stars was The Stonekeeper. The next one was The Stonekeeper's Curse, The Cloud Searchers, and Escape from Lucienne. Those, I think there's like 9 or so. I'm not too sure like how many graphic novels or volumes are released as a part of the series, but I guess those 4 of them that I really liked and gave 5 stars. I remember when I last left off in this series, it was probably like on the 9th volume, but I think I should go back and read them all. They're very short, they're very quick to read. There's like basically like your regular old like comic books, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it's pretty good, and I think I might pick that up. And so after that, the next book that I gave 5 stars is We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. Now this book is a little bit odd. I think it ended up on some kind of like really prestigious like awards list or whatever. I don't know if it's the Man Booker or something else, but it was on some kind of, it's very prestigious, whatever. And this book is about this girl and her trying to come to terms with her childhood. If you read the back of the book, or if you pick it up, it does say that she's trying to like reconcile with like with her sister that she grew up with, and she really like blames her parents for like her confusing childhood. It should have been very obvious on like the cover of the book what the kind of twist here was with this girl's relationship with her sister, and why that relationship isn't there anymore. But when I picked up this book, I really had no idea about like the 2 sisters and their background, but as you get to read more, it's like, that's messed up. That's really messed up what happened to the sisters and what the parents did there. So I highly recommend this one if you're not afraid to read things that are kind of weird and different. So the next book I gave 5 stars is Room by Emma Donohue. So another book that probably needs no explanation, but this is one where, so this girl, if you probably remember from the Brie Larson movie, this is the movie that Brie Larson won the Academy Award for. So Brie Larson's character gets kidnapped, and her kidnapper keeps her locked up in this room that's, I believe, like in the backyard, that's like soundproof, like you can't escape it, whatever. So it's really the exploration of what it's like to be confined to a small space for years. And while she's in the room, she ends up getting pregnant with her captor's baby and having to give birth to that baby by herself. And I think what really keeps Brie Larson's character going is that her love for her son, I think his name is Jack, If it's not Jack, I'll find out when I edit this. She really has a love for her son Jack, and it's really about the exploration of their love for each other. And then I think at some point her character realizes that there's an opportunity for escape, or they need to escape somehow. And then they end up doing that, and it's about her coming to terms with the trauma that she's experienced being trapped in the room for so long. That there is a trigger warning, like should be a trigger warning for this book that says like for SA, like very strong. But this is a book that I highly recommend. If you don't want to read the book, there is the movie is a pretty like faithful adaptation, so you could go that route. And so the next book I gave 5 stars is Winter by Marissa, and this is the final book in the Lunar Chronicles series, what I was talking about earlier. So this book is based off of Snow White, and it's the culmination of all of the previous 3 books. I can't get into it because they'll be very spoilery, but I did like how this book wrapped up in the end. And then the last book that I read in 2015 that I gave 5 stars is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer'S Stone, but not just any copy. It's the illustrated copy that I read with all the pictures. So I think I bought this book just because I saw it at like Barnes and Noble, and I was like, ooh, another Harry Potter book? Sure, I can do that. So obviously this one needs no explanation as well. And this was a reread for me. So yeah, those are all the books that I gave 5 stars in 2015 as a part of my 2015 reading challenge. I'm going to continue to go through all of my reading challenges that I've had in the past since I started a Goodreads account. But the goal point of this is basically I'm looking for books that will give me that feeling. You know, like once you finish reading a book, you just know automatically this is a 5-star book. It will stick with you. It just has that feeling once you wrap up, like, you know, just that feeling that, you know, like this book had an impact on you, and like you as a person. So if you have any recommendations of just based on the books that I gave 5 stars back in 2015 that might interest me, I will say that I'm very much out of the YA like type of reading. I prefer to read adult these days, and I prefer to also read like thrillers. Romance can be kind of like a hit or miss for me. I try to tend to stay away from those unless it's pretty like good. I don't tend to like toxicity in my romance books. So if you have any books that you could recommend to me that you think I might like, please go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe. That would really support me out. And thank you guys all. Have a good day.